The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or Internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Thursday already, second week of February. Gerald Celente is with us this hour. He's with us each month, looking at the new TrendsJournal this week, and just took another glance at it. The cover, another great cover. It's just a wonderful magazine. I'll say it again. This magazine is truly what Time magazine used to be and might have morphed into had it maintained its integrity, but it's gone. It's just garbage. This is a great magazine. No ads. Solid intellectual food for thought and consideration. The cover, a bit of a protest outside about banksterism. Interesting. You'll see that if you can get a look at it. The grand manipulation, backroom deals go global, and are they ever? Tremendous amount of material in this issue, Gerald. It may be, it's as strong as I've ever seen. It just gets dense and more populated with important information each time. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's 50 pages, full color, as you mentioned, no ads. And it's history before it happens. We're writing about things that very few people are writing about in detail, if at all. And it's more than just geopolitics and economics. It's social trends, environmental trends, energy trends. So it's a very broad range. Of course, on your show, we tend to talk more about the geopolitical and economic, but the TrendsJournal is it's something that's when I began it in 1991, it was 8 pages, 2 color.
91.
Now, of course, as I said, it's 4 color, yeah. And I've been doing trend forecasting since 1980. It's 35 years now.
You started when you were 16 years old. I remember that story.
I'm the first wave of those baby boomers.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, God, it goes quick. And it's very, it's rewarding in a lot of ways, and the more that I work on it, of course, I become very sad. And I'm so sad.
I was going to say that. It does. It makes you feel in your heart pain at times. It's a darkness, and yet you're giving people a moral, intellectual compass in which that they can hopefully find their way through this insanity.
Yeah, one of the stories, by the way, I wrote in my keynote, that what they're doing is all they're selling is fear and hysteria.
Yeah.
And the way past that is with art and beauty. And that art and beauty are the antidote to fear.
Oh, we've talked about that many times.
Yeah. And so, we bring in the other elements of it. But again, the sadness is, and I have to tell you, the people that disgust me the most are the liberals. And the reason being is they are disgusting hypocrites. Because when a Bush is in office, they'll complain and they'll moan and they'll scream. But when their guy's in out bushing Bush, there's not a peep. And their answer is, what do you ran at, Bush? Look what Obama just did yesterday by seeking a blank check for perpetual war.
Oh, yeah.
And he did it in the afternoon when no one was paying attention.
Right.
I mean, we're talking Wednesday afternoon.
Right.
And in the old days, even under George W. Bush, when he was seeking a blank check for war, it was big news. There was a debate. Real or, whatever it was there. And this was nothing. This was pushed through without anyone watching. It was the end of really any semblance of democracy. All it was a decision made by him and his military backers and his so-called intelligence officials. And as I said, it was done in the middle in the afternoon, and it was a cheap announcement. And here it is. He's asking to go to war.
Basically asking for as much money as he needs to do the job, and his liberal prostitutes give him a free ride as always by basically not even covering the story in any depth or with any strength. No urgency, nothing. They ignored it.
Nothing.
This guy has had it so easy. He should have been strung up by his heels, and you can fill in the blanks. Long
he's a
ago.
Disgrace.
Yeah.
He's a disgrace. An arrogant guy. One of his lines was, I have it in front of me here, existing statutes provide me with the authority I need. He wrote in that letter.
Oh, yeah.
But he said that, he insisted he doesn't need Congress's approval, but he wants unity. And then when you read this atrocity that they're pushing through here, he's asking for authorization that provides an enduring offensive ground combat mission. He said it really doesn't ask for an enduring offensive combat operations. What's an enduring offensive? They won't call it enduring offensive. They'll call it a defensive.
Oh, they play
so they make up
games
these words to make it sound as though that there's we're really not doing it. And all everybody has to do is go back to August, and when this whole thing, and you can see the way these slimers in Washington work. First, they take baby steps. And here was the first baby step back into Iraq.
Uh-huh.
We're going to save them Yazidis on the mountain. We're going to save them Yazidis. Like everybody knew what a Yazidi was. You got them all living all over the neighborhood. And that was the beginning. This is a humanitarian mission. No boots on the ground.
And
now they call them, what they call them? Advisors. Anybody remember Vietnam?
Yeah, they're doing that. Now they're also calling for limited boots on the ground.
Yeah, limited boots.
Limited boots. That means more than 750,000, but less than 1 million, I guess. Look, this is absurd. The whole thing. It's sickening. You're right. It's being played out right in our faces, and the media gives the guy a free ride.
And the liberals out there disgust me because they should be screaming at this.
No, they're not saying anything.
You don't hear a peep from them, and they'll defend him on and on. And by the way, this whole ISIS thing, again, it's I remember in Vietnam, it was the same thing, different line. We got to stop those commies over there in Asia because if we don't stop them over there, before you know it, they'll be over here.
Oh, well, they had another story about that today. 5,000 ISIL members, of some degree or another, are apparently allowed to legally travel into this country with passports and so forth. These are multinational, of course, in their origin. They go over there and fight and then leave. Of course, if you get caught trying to leave, they'll execute you. They killed another 100 deserters last week. So if you join ISIS, you better be prepared. It's kind of like the French Foreign Legion. You don't get out until the sun is burning and baking your bones in the desert. That's it. So
well, again, who created this?
Well,
and that's what nobody wants to talk
who's
about.
Not? Here's the other thing. Excuse me. Who's not talking about ISIS? Here, now, you want to see whose hand is in the cookie jar? Both hands and both feet? Who's not talking about ISIS? The biggest mouth on the planet, that shitty little democracy in the Middle East, says nothing about ISIS. Nothing. Israel says zip. Not a word about it.
Well, again, look at this country. The United States is responsible for this. And it's by destabilizing these regions, by killing over 1 million people in Iraq. They funded these people to overthrow Gaddafi. The Arab League and the United States are funding them to overthrow Assad. They created them. And people forget that Jimmy Carter, that wonderful guy, he's the guy that created the Mujahideen, that was the ones that were the beginning of Al-Qaeda.
Absolutely.
And that was to overthrow to beat the Russians in Afghanistan. And people don't want to look at the facts.
Yeah, that little peanut farmer, how could he ever do something so evil? It just makes me sick. Obama has changed. I don't know if you've noticed. Maybe it's just the way the media has been reporting on his behaviors. In the last several months, there's something about him. Prior to that, he was just carefree and kind of mocking and laughing at it all. He's gotten, I don't want to use the word serious in a competent way, but he's gotten to be, to me, meaner, more potentially deadly. I'm not saying we have a foreign policy either. There's something changed in the guy.
I agree with you. That's what I was saying to you.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying, this arrogance about him.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Several German media institutions have written that during the recent phone conversations between Barry and Vladimir Putin, that Obama threatened Putin with, quote, serious consequences for Russia's alleged involvement in the Ukrainian conflict. Who does this punk, this little bisexual punk, think he is? This is reported by Sputnik, which is odd.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I read it. Yeah. And also, he's threatened. Why doesn't he go take out Putin? You know what? Gerald Celente's 4 rules of peace. The first one is, if you call him out, take him out.
There you go. Well, I like that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a close combat guy. I don't ask anybody to do my dirty work.
Put up or shut up.
If I start something, it's my deal. If I put, I open my mouth, I better follow through. I don't say, hey, okay, go take him out. So if you're going to call yourself a commander-in-chief and a warrior and a fighter, go do your stuff. So he's talking tough. You got a problem with Putin? Let's put him in, the arena there in Verona, and let's have a face-off. We could put it on pay-per-view. We could balance the world budget on that one. Man. Everybody would tune in.
You just nailed it. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah. And then, so these guys all talk tough, but I don't see them doing any fighting.
No, they're happy to send your kids off. I don't see them leading the
troops.
They'd be happy to send our children over there.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
no
I'm sure they'll be there.
Yeah, they're already there. Look, I want to go back to this just for a minute. You watch. You don't miss a thing. This guy's, his facial demeanor, the photographs portraying such, at the very least, are showing a different kind of ugliness about this creep. I don't like it. It bothers me. I've been watching it. No one else has said anything except you has seen this, and that doesn't surprise me in the least. But he's changed.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. And you listen to his, we do Trends in the News each night. Each weekday night. It's just part of the subscription. And last night, I broke apart his speech of accusing Russia of destabilizing Ukraine.
Yeah, right. Good.
And the arrogance and the lies in it, the outright lies. Again, they keep one after another, day after day. They talk about all of this Russian tanks, Russian, military, Russian. Show me a photo. Could you show me one photo? Nothing. In this age of selfies, all of these reports, right. But you can't show me any. Number two, he's claiming the facts are there that Russia is involved in this war in East Ukraine, and they're training Ukrainian troops.
Well.
And then, as he's saying this, it comes out on Reuters that the United States, in March, a couple of weeks, is going to be training Ukrainian troops.
Well, they're going to formally begin their training.
Yeah, formally,
they've already been there. And
who knows what's going on already?
You saw the guy, the reporter. I don't know. I guess she was an East Ukrainian DPR or LPR reporter, and I think she was in
either Donetsk, I think, or around
in
there.
Donetsk.
No, the other one.
Yeah, the guy.
Yep.
Yeah, Luhansk. And the guy walks by her, and she says something in Russian with a microphone, holds it up, and he says, out of my face, please. And he keeps going. As American as apple pie.
Yep.
It wasn't British. It was an American.
So here's Obama saying how terrible it. Now I'm not really, great at geography, but if my memory serves me right, doesn't Ukraine border up against Russia? And wasn't it part of Russia for a real long time? And what is the United States doing way over there and telling the Russian people in Ukraine that they can't be associated with Russia? What am I missing?
No, you didn't miss anything. Vicki Nuland spent $5 billion of our dollars pulling off the coup and installing Porky and the rat. And we've got a situation now that is about as ugly as it gets. The country is completely bankrupt. Their military is in virtually a shambles. They're getting their butts kicked all the time because the Russians do have advisors in the East. They've got high-tech equipment there that has completely jammed, and they'll hone in on a command and control, CNC center, that the Kiev army is using along that so-called line of demarcation. And they'll just take it out with missiles. Boom, boom, boom. Long artillery shots. Boom, boom, gone. So they say, how many? 2,500 dead troops in the last, a month? Something like that. That's on the Ukraine side. I don't know how many on the other side have died, but they have 8,000 surrounded or quasi-surrounded with tanks, APCs. These are Kiev's finest. And among that group of their finest, of course, are mercenaries and elite boots on the ground from the UK, from France, from probably Poland, certainly the United States, helping Porky's troopers. And they're not responding. Why? How can you tell? Because they've got no backbone for this fight. Because when Porky announced 100,000 would be drafted into the military, in the first week and a half to 2 weeks, over 20,000 fled to Russia. And the draft age spread, anybody from 18 to 60 is going to be called up to serve Porky and the Rat's troops.
Yep. And the other one where Obama outright lied, he's blaming the deaths of the civilians on the eastern Ukrainians.
On the separatist forces?
Yes.
Okay, so you played this speech and you clipped it. You cut it up. And
yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could.
And then what we did was we showed all of the devastation caused by the Kiev's the Kiev government on eastern Ukraine.
The Kiev killers.
Bus stops that are blown up, the hospitals that have been blown up.
Look at the airport. The hospital. Oh, yeah, they target these things, folks. Gerald knows, most of you know, these civilian targets are not accidentally being destroyed. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's really disgusting.
But Obama goes on and blames it on the eastern Ukrainians.
He's a lying sack of crap.
I know, and Jeff, I am 100% with you. There is an evilness and arrogance about him that comes across like, who are you? I'll tell you what to do. Don't you know who I am? That's the attitude that he's putting out there.
I'm very
that
grateful
we, the people, are just garbage, and he will tell us what to do, how to act, and how to behave.
He's a mean, evil SOB, and we're beginning to see that now. See, that's the difference. Not that smiley face, happy little playful cutesy pie shit. Excuse me, that's what it is. He's evil. And he is a killer at heart. No, he's not running any kind of a cohesive foreign policy. That's a mess, too. But the guy's showing his real self now. Or something has changed in him. Take your pick. It doesn't matter. Because what you're pointing out, what I've been watching, and you can see it in the pictures, the photographs, and the video, it's disgusting.
It's frightening.
Yeah. It almost makes me feel he could pull the trigger on the big one.
Oh yeah, look, when I keep thinking about this, how does a Stalin come in power? How does a Hitler come into power? And it's very easy. It's because the people, whatever the country is, they don't have the courage to stand up. And that's what's going on right now. This country is courageless. The people are, and you look at them, you go to the airport, you see the way people look, you see the way they dress, you see what they're eating. I realized, pigs can fly because they're doing it everywhere.
Well, they can sure walk around with their smartphones, right?
And I'm telling you, what's happened to this country is a disgrace.
Yeah.
The people have lost their courage, their dignity, and their self-respect. And with all of this talk about war, not a peep about peace.
Nope. Excuse my language a couple times there, folks. I'm just a little over the top with this crap. It's
no.
It's too much.
You know what dirty language is? Drone strikes. That's dirty language.
Amen. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away. Okay, we're back. Gerald and I, and all of you wonderful people, wherever you are all around the world, thank you for being here. We always appreciate you. We are talking about Ukraine, which is obviously one of the most important things in years, and it has directly to do with many, many things we could spend probably hours talking about. The free pass that Obama gets is very interesting. The only story that I could really see and find with ease was the piece that Fox did about Obama threatening Putin. Here's a little clip. Now, understand that, and as Gerald no doubt took apart with the actual speech, everything you hear claimed by Obama is the reverse. This is all reverse projection. It's an old trick. It's a PSYOP trick. You take what you've done and you project it on the other person to try to make them, well, somehow defend it, put them on the defensive. As soon as you make a statement that forces someone to say, well, wait a minute, now that's not right, you're wrong. You put them on the defensive and you have control. You have the upper hand. Here's a little quick news clip from Fox.
President Vladimir Putin of Russia to address the escalating violence in eastern Ukraine and Russia's ongoing support of the separatists there. The president reiterated America's support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. President Obama underscores the rising human toll on the fighting and underscored the importance of President Putin seizing the opportunity presented by the ongoing discussions between Russia, France, Germany, and Ukraine to reach a peaceful resolution there. The president emphasized the importance of reaching and implementing a negotiated settlement underpinned by the commitments of the Minsk Agreement. However, if Russia continues its aggressive actions in Ukraine, including by sending troops, weapons, and financing to support the separatists, the costs for Russia will rise.
Okay, now that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's another in a string of threatening language that had been put out they've been parsed out over the last several months. And this is underscored further by the fact that Obama didn't bother to show up at these talks. That's another slap in the face to Vladimir Putin. Anyway, everything he said that you just heard, that was Shepard Smith, was in fact the opposite of what he said, Obama claimed. It's been going on. It'll continue to go on. Every single thing Obama says is essentially the reverse of reality.
Yeah, and again, we're all excited about, the upcoming presidential race.
Oh, aren't we?
A choice between Clinton and Jeb Bush, and a couple of days ago, here's what Jebby said: the United States needs to lead. He said that he's asking that the United States should advance democracy wherever possible. And he's calling for increased military spending. Well, who made up this thing about the United States advancing democracy when they're robbing us of all our rights over here? I mean, this whole thing, let's make this clear for anybody that has a brain bigger than a pea. And I know this isn't your audience. I would suggest they ask this question for those that defend the militarization and military mindset of this nation. Tell me the string of victories that the United States military has had since World War II. Name them for me.
Let's see. I think I could start and end with Grenada.
Yeah, you forgot Panama.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's it.
Great job in Vietnam. Well, if you gave us more, if we only killed 3 million and Agent Orange the joint. If you let us kill more, we could have won. All right. How about Afghanistan? Well, it's not over there yet, and we got rid of them Talibans. Well, it isn't over yet. You're right. The longest war in American history. Hey, how about Iraq? Well, the world's better off without Saddam Hussein. Yeah, but that's not why you said you went there. You said you went there because of weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda that didn't exist. And now the place you want to know why you have ISIS or you have people that hate you is because you wiped out their families, you destroyed their country, you tortured the people, you've slaughtered over 1 million of them. Oh, and by the way, how about the job that you guys did in Libya? You only killed 30,000 over there. Oh, you armed those militants, didn't you, to overthrow Gaddafi? So let me see the victories. Show me the great strategies that hey, how about Yemen, huh? I forgot about Yemen. Oh, yeah, most people know where Yemen is in this country. Yeah, I think they think it's like someplace outside of Disneyland. Oh, yeah, you know what they did to Yemen? Oh, great victory over there was, we only supported a dictator there for, 40 years, drone strikes every couple of weeks. And again, you said you had to watch your language. No, Jeff. As I said, dirty language is drone strikes. You want to hear some real filthy language? Really disgusting. You made sense to me on this one. How about collateral damage? How about that for filthy language?
Yeah, that's as foul as it gets. I agree. Yeah, bringing democracy to peoples around the world means bringing genocide and death, suffering, privation, all the rest of it. It's the antithesis of what it sounds like. It puts them under the...
And it's the antithesis of what this country was built on.
Of course.
Hey, how about fixing Detroit? You think they could pull that one off?
I was thinking the other day about all these trillions of dollars, trillions and trillions of dollars that are being pissed down the urinal by this government. If they put $1 trillion into this country, how many people would go back to work? How much of the infrastructure could be repaired? How much could be... We'd totally revitalize America for $1 trillion.
And it's tens of trillions that they've lost.
That's the point. Tens. You got it. Yeah, of course. You know.
When I wrote trend tracking back in 1988, the United States had already spent $13 trillion on the Cold War.
Wow. Something that nobody understood. See, back then, the number of trillion didn't compute. People couldn't understand what a trillion... Now it's getting to be almost like a billion. They're throwing it around so commonly. We have another quick break coming up here. When we do, we'll get into that and come right back. I'm going to play a little clip from Jebby Bush. This is the Bush Power Center insisting upon another son going into the White House against the Clinton Power Center, which is really predicated more on pedophilia than it is on high finance. But they don't have the push. Jebby has a Mexican, a Latino wife. Wait till you hear I'll play a little clip. Wait till you hear what he says. He made this statement, by the way, in the Detroit Economic Club speech he made. Detroit. Talk about a testimonial to a destroyed America. Detroit. Back in just a minute. Hold on. Okay, welcome back. Jeff and Gerald and you folks, and we are talking about a most critical juncture in many, many years in our country's future. And I just got a note from Horst in Germany, listening over there. Thank you, Horst. He says, you say Obama has changed. Yes, he looks strange. Maybe he is on drugs. Well, he's been on recreational drugs, we know that, but maybe there's something else they're giving the guy now. Who knows? Now, let me go back to what I said before the break. Jeb Bush and the Bush machine, extremely powerful. I don't think that the Clintons have a chance. Here's a speech at the Detroit Economic Club. Now listen, I'm going to play about a minute of this. Listen to this man jive us. He's trying to juke us. He's a fraud. He's saying one thing, and then he'll turn around and say damn near the opposite of it, trying to make it sound like it's the same string of coherent thought. This is really something. Now here's what you're going to get with Jeb Bush. And I'm not saying I think Hillary's worse. So now get this.
Immigration has part of that. We need young, dynamic people that can make an immediate contribution to our economy.
Illegals.
We shouldn't be fearful of this. We should say, what an incredible opportunity.
An opportunity.
So, I would hope that mentality of shifting this to an economic issue rather than a political issue will be helpful. And it starts with regaining confidence that the federal government can enforce the border. They need to secure the border. first and foremost.
Now he's talking about we should welcome these illegal aliens by the millions and millions in here. And then he's saying, well, we've got to take care of that border. We've got to solidify that border.
There's no denying that. And that ought to be the highest priority. I don't think the president should use his executive authority where he's gone beyond his constitutional powers. That creates greater doubt as well.
Oh, really?
I don't think that people are totally confident that the E-Verify system we have in place right now is working to the extent that it needs to, so we need to fix that. I know for a fact that people are surprised that 40% of the undocumented workers, undocumented people in our country have come with a legal visa and have just overstayed their time.
Gosh.
A great country ought to figure out a way to deal with that issue.
In other words,
once we got that done, then it seems to me that we ought to say strategic about this and how do we create high sustained economic growth. And that's to shift away from family reunification being almost the sole driver of legal immigration to narrowing that to what every other country has, spouse and minor children, and dramatically expanding immigrants that are coming to work, a guest worker program to deal in the area.
Okay, that's enough. The sole driver of illegal immigration is family reunification? What horse manure?
I know.
All this
does, people, again, I was writing about this, Jeff, going back to the 80s.
Yeah.
And the biggest pushers of illegal immigration, it began with when we used to have manufacturing, the National Association of Manufacturers, to bring in cheaper labor.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kept going, and then it was really being pushed by Silicon Valley to bring in the H-1B visas so you could bring in all that cheap help from Asia.
Oh, and India, too. By the way, they were bringing in 747s full of teachers with masters and PhDs. In India, they graduate more PhDs every year in India than we do four-year university and college grads in any major in this country. More PhDs in 1 year.
So that's what this is really about. It's bringing in cheap labor. It's part of the multinational takeover. And look at the numbers. I mean, you saw the one from Oxfam that came out. That 1% of the people are going to have more money than 99% of the rest of us by next year.
Next year. That's right. Yep.
And you saw the Pew Research Center study that came out that shows the gap between the rich and the poor in the United States is worse than it was back in the Gilded Age. So all these people talking about immigration, it's for two reasons. To bring in more cheap labor so the multinationals can make more money by using slave labor, and so they could keep getting votes to keep themselves into office.
And to break the backbone once and for all of our national identity, our heritage, our cultural achievements as Americans of all races and religions and creeds, it doesn't matter, of what this country was. It's how they're tearing Europe down. It's how they're tearing America to shreds. These people don't want to assimilate.
But the difference in Europe is they're fighting back.
Yes, they are.
And you're seeing it with Le Pen's party. You're seeing it with UKIP. You're seeing it with the German party. You're seeing it with Syriza in Greece trying to fight back against austerity and immigration. So you're seeing it in other countries, but this is the country that there's no fight anymore. I don't see it at all.
No, there's nothing. No, there's no pushback. It's a marshmallow. Oh, if they might get up, push a few computer keys, send off a pre-printed mass mailer to some political target, which gets promptly pushed in the electronic trash can with a delete key on the other end. That's about it. I don't see anything else. Now, you young people listening who do care and who do get it, bless every one of you, because without you, we'd have leg irons on right now. So don't give up.
Yeah, and it's up to our generation, too. We've been around long enough to know the deal. And, we should be leading the march.
We're not doing
anything. And that's what we're trying to do.
No, we're not. Our generation...
Well, we are. We're launching Occupy Peace on May 2nd here in Colonial Kingston, New York, to honor thy founding fathers. No foreign entanglement.
Yeah.
Bring home the troops, seal the borders, rebuild America, and have a self-sustaining economy. So we're saying there's a way out. And the other way out is a new third party. And this is the
a real
time
one.
for it.
Not one that's, and not like the Tea Party that appeared to originally have some grassroots, few, but was taken over.
They were co-opted, yeah.
Totally.
But you look what happened. Look what's going on in Spain. The Podemos party came out of nowhere, and in a year they're challenging the ruling government. In a year.
I know. That was a shock.
So we can do it too.
That was a shock. Europe is, let's say Brussels is still quaking in its boots over that one. They're saying if Greece yanks the cord and walks, they're bankrupt now, but they're happy, as they say, that Europe may collapse. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? I'd pay to see that too. I'm sick of that Brussels
thing, again, you go back to the TrendsJournals. We were reviewing some of them in 2011. The big hype was how the technocrats were going to save the day in Europe. And then you look at how Greece got into the European currency, and it was a dirty deal pushed by the Goldman Sachs gang. The guy that was the head of the Goldman Sachs, the European division, his name may sound familiar. Mario Draghi, the current head of
there he is.
the European Central Bank, the president of the European Central Bank, was the guy that pushed the dirty deal that covered up that Greece was not eligible to come in for the European currency, and the guy, the big technocrat that they put in, and this is where democracy in Greece, they used to be synonymous. They pushed this technocrat in as the ruler of Greece. His name was Podemos, and he was the head of the Greek Central Bank when Mario Draghi and he did the dirty deal to get them into the European currency.
Well, central bank. Any country you want to talk about, look at their central bank.
And that's, by the way, people that want to see what's going to happen in the future, they could go to our website. We have a 5.5-hour conference that we have here that's available, and one of the big trends is bankism. This is not capitalism, it's bankism. Too big to fail has killed capitalism. The words stand on their own to show that's the merger of state and corporate powers. It's called fascism. And so we're showing the people where we're going, what to do about it, business opportunities, things to consider, things to avoid, and investment opportunities for them to consider, although we do not give investment advice, but directions on entrepreneurial opportunities and where the future's heading.
I have a story going to go up. It's just kind of a fun story. If any of this is really laughable anymore, it's this Brian Williams thing. You talk about arrogance and ego. What is the guy, Walter Mitty? I forget what I named it, but I'll have it up there tonight. And it shows a lot of historical pictures. Brian Williams. Interviews Mark Twain. You seen this one?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, somebody sent it to me.
Yeah, laugh like heck on that.
Oh, did you get the one that we sent out that Brian Williams persecuted by prostitutes?
No.
Did you get that email?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's funny. You should have gotten that.
I may have. I'll go back and look again.
Oh, that's a good one to put up. What we did was we showed how...
Oh, I did run it. I did, yes. I put it up yesterday.
Okay, yeah. About how they sold us out with the Iraq War, and how one prostitute after another bowed under to White House pressure and corporate pressure not to fight. There's no fourth estate anymore. Matter of fact, it's an estate sale. It's gone, man. It was bought out by the corporations, pennies on the dollar.
You know, the sad thing is 99 out of 100 Americans, if you ask them on the street, maybe 999 out of 1,000, they wouldn't even know what the fourth estate means.
That's true, yeah.
It's gone. Well, thank goodness you're there, and we always appreciate it.
Thank you for you as well.
Well, my pleasure. I'll talk to you next month. You be well.
You too. Thank you very much.
Gerald.
Bye-bye now.
Night. Okay. We'll take a break and be right back.